Hi, welcome back to Baxter's Grey Mad. I'm Tom, and today is the 8th of April, 13 degrees, and it feels like 26. It's absolutely stunning. Today, haven't really got much planned. I would like to get my raised planter finished and some lettuce, bok choy, and some Swiss chard planted. I wanted to have a look around the beds and see how everything's growing. Just have a little look around. I'd like to get another raised bed in somewhere and also just have a general tidy up, but we'll see how far we get on. Right, let's have a look. Right, so here's my 5 raised beds. I'd like to get a 6th one in here maybe today or tomorrow. These are my chives, all starting to flower, which is looking really good, really nice. I split all these up and then I've put them down there. They look decent. My onions are coming on really well. Soil's a bit dry. Might give them a little water today. Might need a little bit of a weeding. Got some clover coming up there. Don't want that coming up. Get rid of that. My strawberries, obviously they got moved to my greenroof planter. These are my first early potatoes. I've gone in, nothing's come up yet. I've got some dandelions that I need to pick out. Some other weeds. Is that mint? Yeah, it is, it's mint. I want that in there. And I think I have a rogue strawberry. So I might dig that out and put it in my raised strawberry planter. My raspberries looking really well. Some of them are starting to flower. Oh no, they're starting to bud. Looking really well, and they're the ones that I bought. They're the golden raspberries. They're coming on really well. Another strawberry there, look, down there. I have to get that out. I think it needs a bit of a weeding. Some of it has been knocked over. This is why they need staking, really, but I don't know. Hopefully that survives. I'm looking really well. I've been using these clay pots over my rhubarb just to see if I can bring them on a bit. That's decent, but yeah, I've got some rhubarb in these as well. Hopefully I'll get quite a few raspberries this year. There's nothing in that bed so far. I've got some second early potatoes, but I think I'm going to put them in some Hessian sacks. Another rhubarb coming up there. Here's the planter. Like I said last time, I want to make this level, so I might cut a board in half and run it around to make it level with this one. And I'm going to put plastic, some horse manure, wood chippings, topsoil, compost in there and get my lettuce in today. These are my strawberries, looking really well, looking good. And if you come over to this side, I've got some that's flowering, so hopefully we'll get some nice strawberries off this year. So here we are. I've taken the panels off and I've replaced them with 2 short panels, which is more or less parallel. I've got a gap in the middle where I'm going to plant my mint. I'm just going to line it with plastic now, and then start filling up with some stones for drainage, some wood chip, topsoil, compost, and some horse manure, and I can start getting my lettuce and my Swiss chard in. Hi and welcome back to Baxter's Grey Mad. Firstly, I'd like to apologise for this awful camera view. I'm using a block of wood as a camera stand and I didn't realise that it's blocking part of the view here, so I'd just like to apologise. Right, so here I am using some old plastic that was used to cover beds in the winter to suppress weeds. It was in the allotment skip, so it's always good to reuse or purpose things for the allotment instead of buying new. So I'm cutting down the plastic to size and then hammering down using galvanised staples, which cost me a few quid from B&Q. Once the plastic is secure in place, I will cut drainage holes where I've left gaps in the wood or the floor that I made earlier. I will then fill with a layer of stones, hand-picked out of the raised beds, another material that I'm repurposing on the allotment. Then I will lay a base layer of wood chip for drainage purposes, and also it holds on to moisture, which will help with keeping the roots moist. After this, I'll lay compost and manure and mix that together, and another layer of topsoil, and then eventually another layer of compost. Just adds to the nutrient level for the plants that I'm going to plant into this bed. Once the bed is prepped with the soil, compost and horse manure, I will start laying the lettuce, bok choy and swisschard in a grid formation, just maximising the space with the amount of plants I'm going to be planting. Gives all the plants enough space to thrive and grow. So here we are, plastics in, just tacked to the sides, nothing pretty about it. What I'm going to do now is just going to drill some holes into where there was gaps in the bottom of the floor, and then I will start filling up with some wood chip, horse manure and compost. So here we have skipped to the part where I have added the soil, like something out of Blue Peter. Here's some that I made earlier, sort of effect. So I am planting mixed baby leaf lettuce, bright lights chard and bok choy. I have cheated and purchased the swisschard and the lettuce from a garden centre, as I don't have a greenhouse and I have limited space to grow from seed. But the bok choy is grown from seed in my back garden and then moved up to the allotment to harden off, ready for planting in this raised green roof planter. And there we go, mixed baby leaf lettuce is in, and my swisschard bright lights is in. Now I'm going to plant my bok choy that I've had growing from seed in pots, but I don't think they're going to take. I think they do well better if you plant direct, but I was a bit eager, so I'm hoping that they survive. If not, I'll have to sow some more in this bed. They're very quick at growing, and then next, in a couple of, maybe next week, I might start planting some radishes in there as well. But yeah, looking very good. Really impressed. And there we go, bok choy is in here. Along here I've got my swisschard in, bright lights. I've got my mixed baby leaf lettuce, and now I'm going to give it a little water, and fingers crossed I get some decent crops off this year. Hi, welcome back to Baxter's Growing Mad. Today's the 11th of April, and it is 12.5 degrees, still sun shining, hardly any rain, so I'm back up here watering, having a look around. Today I really want to get my second early potatoes in, them Hessian sacks. I've only got about an hour up here, so it's a bit of a rush job. Panicked myself this week after I put the green roof planters up here. The next day I had frost on my car, so I was a bit worried about my lettuce that I planted in. But having a look at them, they look to be doing okay. Brilliant. Not too bad. Nothing seems to have died. The structure hasn't collapsed, which is a good thing. Still standing. Strawberries are looking well. So my neighbours are lovely. They've just dropped off a load of seed potatoes for me. Says that they're going spare, so she's left them on my allotment. So these are some first earlies. Sharps Express, so I'm going to plant them in the Hessian sacks. I've also got some second early potatoes, I think the Maris Pippa. I'm going to get them in the Hessian sacks as well. I'm going to mix the Hessian sacks up, so I'm going to do a little bit of compost and some wood chippings, I think, for the potatoes, just to save me on material because I haven't got much compost up here. Yeah, so here are the lettuce, bok choy and Swiss chard that I've put in. Like I say, I was panicking a bit because of the frost, but they seem to be doing alright. I might just give it a bit of a water because it's not rained in a couple of days. Not that dry, but yeah, I'm hoping I get some good crops off of this year. Strawberries are all looking really good. It's got some flower in here, which is super cool. This one's looking a bit sorry for itself, but the rest of them I've got new leaves on, so I'm super happy with that. So these are the Hessian sacks. I've got them off Vinted for £4 for 6, and they're old coffee bean Hessian sacks. Some more in here. Sure, I think the potatoes will do really well in them, and I can just roll them down. I'll roll them down halfway, put the wood chip and the compost in, the seed potatoes, and when they start sprouting, I'll just roll the sacks up and root up to give them more space. Yeah, but I think they'll look cool. I'm going to give this a quick tidy, and then I'm going to get the sacks in here for now. Or even I could put them in the corner. I could put one in the corner there, and another in the corner there. There's a little planter. Oh, look at that, got a little viola. That's lovely. So here I am, back down on the allotment a couple of days after finishing the greenroof planter. And I'm now focusing on getting these first early potatoes and second early potatoes into the ground. Well, I mean into sacks. As you can see in the wheelbarrow, the wood chip I'm using is right at the bottom of the pile. It's started to break down and decompose, giving it a good material for potatoes to grow into. This will further decompose even more, and at the end, when the potatoes are ready to come out, I could just use the spent compost from this and put it into the compost bin, or even better, mulch my beds with. So my thought process for planting potatoes in containers, or Hessian sacks in this case, was just to reduce the amount of space I'm using. I want to save as much space as possible in my raised beds for other plants that I'm going to sow seed directly into. So growing potatoes in sacks I thought would be a good idea. I can also move if they're in the way, and they'll be easy to harvest in the next few weeks. So apparently potatoes are one of the easiest plants to grow and crop. They can be grown mostly in any material: horse manure, soil, compost, grass clippings. I've added some rotten wood chip and compost, and I'm going to add some bloodfish and bone to the bags, and then I'm going to start getting the potatoes in. I'm going to do 2 or 3 potatoes to each bag. If they're really small, I might put 4 in there, and then I'm going to leave them, water in, and leave them to grow. Yeah, so like I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, I'm going to be using well-rotten wood chip, compost, and some bloodfish and bone fertiliser to maximise my yield of potatoes this year. These are my second early Maris Pippas that have been chitting. They were donated to me by my allotment neighbour. These are second earlies, and I've got some first earlies as well. So I'm going to get these in. Some of them are a bit small, some of them are decent size. So the big size ones, 3 to a bag. The little ones, 4 to a bag. Now the term chitting basically means when the potato is sprouting. Now a potato is a tuber that stores all its energy in. Once ready to grow, the potato will start to sprout, or chit in this case. Once planting, we make sure that these chits or the sprouts are facing up in the ground, so it just gives the potato or the plant to come from the potato the best chance and opportunity to grow up. Once the potato starts to sprout through the soil in the Hessian sacks, I will add more soil on top of the plant. This is called rooting up. This just stops any sunlight from getting to the base of the potato and turning them green, hopefully giving me a healthy crop of potatoes when I come to harvest at the end of 10 to 12 weeks. Once I've filled all the Hessian sacks with compost and wood chip and potatoes, I'm just going to move them into the final position, and then I will root up when they start to sprout out of the Hessian sacks, or occasionally water if we have a big drought. But other than that, I'm just going to leave them to grow for the next 10 to 12 weeks. So here I am putting the last potatoes into the Hessian sacks, then moving them to the raised bed paths. First earlies in the Hessian sacks are on the left, second earlies are on the right, and in the middle I've got my first early red Duke of York. So yeah, thank you again for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video of the green roof planter, and like and comment and subscribe if you want to follow my allotment journey. Thank you, see ya, bye.